Hello, hello. First time history.
I'm sure I've forgotten something. Not to worry, I'll simply send someone to fetch it. As soon as I remember what it was. Ah.
If it isn't Kaede Harakaza, what brings you here today?
Huh? You two know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the two clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects. Let me quickly explain. The Raiden Gokaden was the collective term for the 5 most acclaimed bladesmithing arts in Inazuma. The techniques of blade making were unfortunately
So sick.
It is a great pity indeed. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water, as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind have memorized the craft, turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedahara clan has fallen on hard times, its ideals and virtues are alive and well.
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryou Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryou Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse, and neither of them came back.
वीडियो देखते रहिए।
Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing, and can sense even the most minute differences in blade quality. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, he attacked this friend of mine. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the
What? No. Absolutely impossible. Yuya is not that kind of person. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. He has never gotten into a fight before.
Is that so?
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable. Anyway,
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think you...
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two... Let's pay a visit to the...
सुनना नहीं है यार।
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we can to inform our search. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for Mora.
That's a long story. He'd always get so everything was fine when
Uh-oh.
he lost his sense of our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby and I'm willing to support him, but making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times, but he never listens. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said,
Whoa.
And that led...
actually, it didn't. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce. If the death... After I said those words, he froze. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family? Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament. And I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses. The next thing I heard was that our
I see. Amin Omayuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse, and both men disappeared.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe...
I don't know. He just disappeared. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire. Even though I'm still... As long as he's will...
Please don't get upset. If collecting things, but the information...
Accent, accent.
This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
Let's try a change of scenery. And rest assured,
Thank you so much. I just want him to come home.
based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon was thinking that maybe someone accidentally knocked over an oil lamp? Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while.
That is the most likely conclusion based on everything we know. However, if this is indeed one fact that Mr. Nagato, the more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there? Right. Although the time frame Amenoma Yuya lacks a...
Darn! We thought we could...
Let's keep going. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato...
Okay, but...
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse.
Shine down!
There sure are a lot more Outlanders now that the Sakoku decree has been abolished.
I wonder what's on the other side of the ocean.
Wait. I hear something up.
Oh! This must be be another one of those sounds that only you. As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament. So.
বাবার অ্যাকাউন্ট থেকে আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি, কমেন্ট করলাম।
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma, the remnants of the Tatarigami. Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit to our investigation. We should remain vigilant.
So it's an underground where?
The force is definitely coming from the source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place. But the residue, judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself.
It could well be that he was all, from what I've been told, but most will. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with.
So what?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside. If we don't open this door, we can move no closer. You needn't worry.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary! Paimon was so sure that the warehouse boogeyman...
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami are two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them. Yes, let's go. Quiet your mind. From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion... quite possibly...
Whoa! Look at all those hilly churls! They're acting really strangely!
Something seems to be drawing our attention. Let's take a closer look.
Illusion shattered!
It's...
Ooh! Look at this red stuff! What?
by the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. It must... Well, let's take a look. According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to... Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato and...
So, where
पूरा
is
बोरिंग
he?
होता है
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura, whatever traces there may have been of his fate, yes. If Ame no Mayuya is
Right, so let's get moving.
I wouldn't be surprised for a practitioner. All the clues that at first seemed. I have a hypothesis.
Wait,
I believe so. On with the search. He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
why here? Is there anything special about this place?
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in.
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
Kaede Harakazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before. What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. But what if instead of facing Ame no Mayuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Now that you mention it, it is giving off a strange light. Whoa, whoa! Surely you don't mean... Are you serious?
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to the blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind, and more recently using the sail as a means to affect, or rather as a means to occupy, Ame no Mayuya's body.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams. As a descendant of the Kaedehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. In the end, all he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill, it culminated in his creation of me. He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement in the art of blade forging.
So, swords can become conscious and control people?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had. After the death, I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power, the might.
So tell me, what happened?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are when they got tired.
You're
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until Ame no Mayuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter. At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Ame no Mayuya's body, I have found you, and by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun.
Kaede Harakazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me!
Wind strike!
तू राइडन सॉन्ग का वाला ले राइडन
Time to
Rewrite history! Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
Your club's fooling no one. You've lost.
Lost? I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man. He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will. The end result is the same! I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger! And even if I were to lose my physical form, it is but a small setback. My consciousness shall endure. By any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall—
Your fighting style, but from your movement?
Really?
As I've mentioned, since the blade, if you ask me,
Are you trying to— On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin in that regard. Why would I ever need your help?
because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner. Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical contact.
बाहर जा
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of
भाई
never
हमारे घर
touching
पे
his
क्या नहीं जा
collectibles.
सकता है
Only when Mr. Nagato
ये जो
witnessed his
वीडियो
wife's
क्लिप करके
distress
छोड़ता था
and
वही
decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity. Well, you were determined. I think you realized, but the way
What would you know about any of this?
you returned to Ina, even if you were to sever that divine light.
You—
Sure, you inherit. How could you?
Silence! I will concede.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to— I have no need of anything that would stand in my way.
शॉट दिखने में तो अच्छा है बहुत अच्छा है
It is pointless to—
How stubbornly you. I do not believe for.
Very well. Once we have dealt with them,
ट्विस्ट पे जाना है
we shall
इसलिए
proceed to
काजुआ का
Tenshukaku.
मिशन स्टोरी मिशन
And as
करना
for
है
your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is the cursed blade, the power of the Tatarigami. Even if we have a chance here to save an innocent victim.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things I wish to learn too. Now, take me in your hand.
Kazuha?
I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment. It's all right. So far, this was as I will.
What should we do next?
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced many real fights. If a blade built for if he wants to avoid reality.
Wait a minute. Paimon remembers since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret.
All right.
What about Amenoma?
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently.
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's a pretty treacherous journey. Okay, fine. Just
the wind lead.
Leave everything on this journey to me.
Time to go.
How are you feeling? You okay?
I'm all right. Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last.
Something else?
How strange. Let's keep going.
Let's get down to business.
The wind knows me.
Barry. My blade. Finally, let's get down to business.
One with nature.
Whoa! Something's up with the blade!
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps
But what would that do to Amanome?
I will be careful with it. He's...
Time to go.
Wind Strider!
Are you okay? It looked like
Yes. And it looks like he's reached his limit.
the Sheen's grown up
Perhaps this time we'll find...
true form. What is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk!
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to... Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy.
पूरा गया.
I finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of... But regrettably, the only one...
Here they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming from? Yup! We can help this time!
Don't worry. I'll use my own blade. It's just more of the...
It's my lucky day.
Into the wind!
आजुआ का एकदम वो भी काफी
Better with your own sword.
बहुत पुल किया था मुझे मिला नहीं.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, no one knew any. I thought that if I...
But in this too, you...
Indeed. Too much time has... Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi.
Actually,
What?
forging and this blade has traveled the skill. There is something else I must tell you. Tatarigami is a... Though you tried to
I sensed it.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have. I feel a great sense of regret for you. The moment you embarked on, you have known this for a long time.
He gave me every. How could I? I said to him,
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has neither the ability. When I touched the hilt for the first time, a bladesmith, a newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Wow. That was the blade?
Indeed. He spent the rest of it. He felt intense, so he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma. No matter how, all he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith. That they were still worthy of.
So that would have to...
Right. This blade has committed. Yes. Time would not wait or stop because of his. He seems to have.
when I look back, I once told him that I would pay for darkness and slaughter. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition.
You are finally seeing.
Since we agreed to the term, but I still. So, may I add?
Hey! Now you're adding your...
It has to be done in this. My physical.
His attitude... What do you think, Kazuha? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. Alas, nor have I ever had my fights were devoted. You.
Oh,
I will release Ameno. He must have plenty of.
understood.
I see. I utterly despise. If a duel can help, I do not wish to be.
There's no need to...
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this.
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't. In any case, for a final duel.
বন্ধ করে দেবো, এটা তোমার একটা অ্যাকাউন্টে চলছে। কি বলবো কিছু বলো না। আস্তে আস্তে সেট আপ তোমরা এখানে ফাইল
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash. Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Even now, Paimon has a sneaking suspicion that Blade hasn't told us everything. Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, it's hard not to feel a teensy bit sorry for him. Are you ready?
क्विस्ट बहुत बोरिंग है।
Ready?
खेलने में बोर हो रहा है तो आप लोगों को देखने में तो
Okay.
बोरिंग आएगा।
Successor of Ishin art.
Successor of Amenoma art. Amenome Yuya.
Honored to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also.
One with nature. Into the wind. One with nature.
Thank you for the experience. Although he appears battered and broken, in your sense of savage.
You also fought well. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
You need not seek my forgiveness. It is too late for all of that.
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone and not let them stain the legacy of Ishin art. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but I beseech you, please understand this.
Yes, I too trust Mr. Kaeda.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy. Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want to go there for?
I'm not sure, but I think that all this is about to come to an end.
It's Yuya! You have returned!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
A prized Ishin blade. Turned weapon that controls the human mind. Consider, but I have some good news.
Really?
Yes. Badly, and now that Yuya is back, it seems...
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the...
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me for...
What? No way! Hasn't it learned its lesson?
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him... Thank you. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your promise.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes. The cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his very wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
So, that's why he said it had to be done in that order. His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling the bladesmith's wish.
Kagotsurube Ishin. It was the first time It seems like deep down he disapproved only in the final...
Seems like he really wanted to fulfill his maker's wish.
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation. Speaking for myself, I understand. Perhaps that hearing his wish to your quest to face the gods after everything I've seen. Perhaps
Oh, Cosmo.
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance.
Wait! Shouldn't we also go update Kujo?
Oh, you're right. We need, and it's also time.
You've returned. I hear that the issue has been resolved. Though this was a treacherous investigation indeed, we're most fortunate that no lives were lost. The Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse.
Wow, you sure kept your ear to the ground.
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer.
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin, a weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art of the Kaidahara clan. By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study and pass on the secrets of Ishin art. And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this blade as I go.
I see. I understand.
The Kaidahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this path. Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not...
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue walking my own path.
Very well. I can understand. Then let's pretend this. However, if you should ever...
Great. Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
As for my next destination, let's see where the wind takes me.
You must have a whole bunch of questions after our last conversation with Nahida. Paimon was ready to ask her a million more questions, but didn't want to seem too pushy. Like, about this...
Come on, serious suggestions, please. I'm not trying to write a thriller here. It's supposed to be an essay, you understand? An essay. That means facts and logic.
Well, if it's facts and logic you're after, you shot yourself in the foot with your choice of research topic, didn't you? The Tatara Suna mystery. When so much remains unexplained, there's little to be objective about. Unless, of course, you restrict yourself to textual criticism.
Yeah, well, this is my teacher's area of research. I can't change that. But I want to write my essay...
Yes, you came to me.
Did one of them just mention Tatara Suna? But that's all the way in Inazuma! Is it just Paimon, or is it kinda unusual for someone in Sumer? Great! Let's go find out what this Tatara Suna mystery is all...
Alright, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Ugh, if only we knew where to find that traveler. From what they say about him, this seems like the kind of thing he'd know about.
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
Hey, what's with that face? Don't believe us?
No, of course I believe you. Actually, I first heard about your great exploits when I was still in Inazuma. This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of...
Sawada, for the love of... Sorry, traveler.
Likes
I hear you've helped many people a great deal and been to many places. Would you be able to tell us...
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it.
I see. My teacher chose this area.
If you don't mind...
Hold on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourself...
Let me give you some background. This all, but in the end, he threw it into... Apart from the sword maker, his servant, and the one who wrote this all down, the records also...
That's right.
So first this strange...
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I...
Stop shouting!
This part's important. I just wanted to make it stand out. It just so happens that a friend of mine works at the Government Records Office. He looked into it for me, and I can now confirm that all the aforementioned individuals did, in fact, live in Inazuma over 400 years ago. Even back then, Tatara Suna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems...
Wait, so there are two missing people?
That's right! What's...
Oh, the swordsmiths? Yeah, like each...
Wow, yes. You really know your stuff. Something then seems to have happened...
Kaidahara clan?
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and gents, for they are about to be blown. Or maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by far the most.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
According to information acquired by Akaba's teacher, the Kabukimono was not a human, but a puppet.
পাঠাতে যাচ্ছি मम्मी को लग रहा था मम्मी को कोई सुपर चैट भेज रहा है वही भेजने जा रहा था ये सब समझ ही नहीं यार
Aha! Just...
I agree.
Oh, and please read... Sawada was encouraging me to follow his more... Oh, how about if...
Wait, you're not to just make...
Akaba, look. Besides, if they're really...
Good point. Okay.
We have some other stuff to do, so...
All right, thank you.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the balladeer, doesn't it? Okay, then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh? After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't it? If you ask Paimon, Akaba should just pick a different topic. There must be as many essay topics as there are trees in the forest. Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like... the balladeer! No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see. traveler, Paimon, there you are. Nahida! Bad news. We just saw the balladeer strolling around in public. Did he escape or... Ah! It's him!
Sure enough, you're here.
Hey!
बैलेडियरी इसका मतलब बैलेडियरी है
I know you must
हमारा
have a lot of
wanderer.
questions. Please, allow me to explain. It was my idea to set the balladeer free. We made a deal, and he's gonna do some investigation in Irminsul for me. A deal? You sure you trust this guy?
What did you expect? Why do you think Sumeru would keep me around otherwise? Or maybe killing me is all you can think about. But if that's the case, why haven't you done it already?
Don't flatter yourself. It was... Nahida said there's still some mysteries in you to figure out.
Ah, so if it were up to you, you'd finish the job? Guess I had you all wrong. There I was thinking you were just getting cold feet.
Well, that escalated quickly. Not a good start. Could I ask you all to please calm down? But Paimon's worried about you, Nahida. Don't let him trick you.
It's not every day you see people questioning the God of Wisdom's judgment. Just when you think you've seen it all.
Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between us! As long as the terms are reasonable, I don't think there's a problem in making a deal. Even with the balladeer.
Well, I for one have no reason to doubt you, considering you even struck a deal with the doctor.
Yes, one in which I gained valuable information. You'll come to understand more about that in the fullness of time. The balladeer's power was all but completely spent after your battle. He's no longer strong enough to be a strategic threat to us. That puts him in quite a precarious position. Plus, he's a former harbinger with knowledge of many of the Fatui's sensitive secrets. Wait a second. Former? You mean he's not a harbinger anymore? I take no pleasure in saying this, but it seems as if the doctor had no intention of welcoming back a loser, so...
Sometimes it's you using them, other times it's them using you. Most human relationships are this way. Certainly all the stable ones are. That's how it was between me and the Fatui, and also between each of the harbingers. So as long as you have some value to offer, nobody will ever abandon you. But after recent events, even I have to admit that I'm not worth quite what I used to be. Well, if the Fatui are going to reevaluate my utility, I need to have a backup plan for myself.
As we discussed, I don't like causing harm to living beings, and you said you need protection. So, why not join forces with us?
I think these two have made their objection to that idea fairly clear, don't you? And they're your friends, so I guess you'll be siding with them.
Yeah, obviously! Nahida, don't listen to him! Then let's put that discussion to the side for now. We still have time. Today can be a trial run. Where we go from here will depend on how well we manage to cooperate today.
All right, then I'll do what we agreed.
Good. Go now, and keep in touch. Nahida, are you serious about this? Yes. I have my reasons for this decision. In fact, I'm largely doing it for your benefit. Yes. As I told you once before, there's information about your twin in Irminsul. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's the whole reason we came to see you today. So, you have an update on that? Mm-hmm. You may remember me mentioning that the Fatui had not included your twin's details in the Descender category. This is an extremely important point. It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the balladeer used to be one of them, he'll be better acquainted with this information than I am. He was granted the power to connect with Irminsul when he almost became the god of a new era. Even though he no longer has the Gnosis, some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. Sifting through all of it without knowing what to look for would take too long, even for me. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders. He's more familiar with this kind of information, and should be able to find it more quickly. Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him! I understand. But sometimes, everything is dictated by which side you're on. How things will go in the future depends. Our minds have connected several times before. There is a corner of your heart reserved for an intense longing. A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to find, then it's worth it. It's my pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it. Paimon's still worried about this idea. Is there anything we can do to help? I was going to contact you about that, but then you... In fact, even though he only has a fraction of his full power left, of course I'll be there to help guide you through Irminsul. Great. Thank you. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to transport you into Irminsul. Wow! It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smart!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards, but right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you, on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else. Fine, let's call it truce, but only until this mission's over.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are going to be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You sure are confident. Paimon will give you that. You make it sound like you're even more experienced at adventuring than us.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ugh, the snark on this guy! It's unbearable!
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure. Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him!
अरमानसुल के अंदर क्या होगा? ओह 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 ओह।
So this is the inside of Irminsul. Ooh. Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Tevat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so say we did go running off in here. What would what are you smirking at?
I was just imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
These sapling things have spread out.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
What if I touch it?
It looks the same in every direction. No wonder you mentioned about getting lost. Huh. What do you know? He was actually telling the truth. Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
What a huge truth.
Lesser Lord Kusanali,
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladier's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk? Yes, I've also invited Paimon to join.
What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends. There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladier's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers. Well done. Smart and attentive as always. So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladier into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. Even if you're a puppet created by the Electro Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatara Suna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabuki Mono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatara Suna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with...
Oh? How interesting. Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
So the Gesse got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatara Suna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation. Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So,
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait! How did you know about that? Didn't Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you. Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
This light, it looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement. You have to share it with us.
Shh. Just wait.
Mr. Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatara Suna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well, since you insist.
It's...
Whoa!
I have been in Tatara Suna for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality, as has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else. Under your leadership, Tatara Suna is a warm, welcoming place, like a giant village. People are, as I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatara Suna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise to generations of swordsmiths. Some world-renowned, others unknown. All passing on their legacy. Skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks...
Yes, well, you allowed it even now.
You flatter me.
So you say, Asher.
My goods.
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected. What have we gained from adopting your new tech? And recently, none of the people who went out to... But that doesn't faze you.
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one...
After all, no... Why, Mr.
Enough, Asher. I'm here because I'm in charge here.
Judging from the look...
Drop the act. We're past that now. Whoever... I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you...
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
You!
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for. I thought I'd disguise myself exceptionally well. It's a long journey, and yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity, and what I seek in Tatara Suna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace.
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one of them.
Whoever you're working for.
It's no trouble if you must know. Just to create a...
That's it.
Look how even the righteous soul is... My device functions... It is easier for a... Make no mistake.
He has nothing.
What a beautiful way to see the world. It all... Think of me. I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human? No, that Mr. Niwa. Jester, I have completed the task you gave me, creating a gap and infiltrating Inazuma's inner workings. What fun it was. I'd like to introduce a puppet to you. If he proves useful, let's make him our newest comrade.
Hey, are you alright?
Dottore. Dottore! Good. Good.
Was that the doctor? Did he turn into a mechanic from Fontaine? But why do we see things from his perspective?
When I touched the doctor to confirm whether he'd eliminated all his segments, I read this memory in his mind. You have to admit, it must be the truth.
Maybe so. But it means nothing.
Does it? But this memory shows that Niwa didn't betray you. He never meant for you to be the one to... You know very well what the...
Let's give him some space.
We need to give him some time to process his emotions.
I'm still confused about the Tatarasuna incident.
Nobody has ever did so now you have the... It was all a horrific experiment planned by the doctor. Of all the unwitting participants in the doctor after the events you just saw in that memory, the doctor put Niwa's heart into the device. The load was far beyond the mechanic, and the mechanic removed the balladeer was stunned that such an he thought Niwa had completely betrayed him.
Holy moly. So the doctor killed an innocent man and pinned everything on the victim? That's terrible.
Yes. Only if you understand.
Dottore, you brazen-faced... Niwa didn't run from justice. You killed him.
Shall we see how he's doing? Hey, you alright? That's a scary expression.
Are you worried about me? If we didn't have such a history, I'd almost think that qualifies me to be your friend. It won't. I'll keep my end of the deal.
Hey, are you investigating the stuff we want to know about?
That's why we're here. But unfortunately, there's no information about the Descenders in Irminsul.
Even if you can't find anything, that seems to confirm it. Irminsul does not keep records on the Descenders. Anyone who comes from beyond this world is not counted as part of Teyvat.
Oh, does that mean we have to leave empty-handed?
Don't thank me just yet. You look really upset. Well, since Irminsul was a dead end, I guess I can share some other info that might interest you.
Huh?
The reason why there are records about your sister in Irminsul. It might have something to do with Conria. Apparently, Conria was her first destination when she arrived in this world. Plus, she only came to this world because the heavens responded to the summoning.
The heavens responded?
The Jester told me this himself. You can take his word on this. He was a royal mage in Conria, and lived with your sister for a time. I don't know the details. It's up to you whether you want to believe me. All I can say is, I wouldn't lie to you about this. Did you get all that, Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Yes. Astonishing news.
Does this info count towards my mission? It wasn't from Irminsul, but was it valuable?
Very valuable.
Good. In that case, I'll take some time for myself now.
Huh? What have you done?
Lesser Lord Kusanali was right. My power's all but completely spent. Even if I use all of the divine power left in me, I can't sustain this shield for very long. I shared a secret with you, and now you owe me. So in return, I'd like you to answer a question for me. Give me your hand. Can you hear my voice inside your head? No, I can't do anything like that anymore. At most, all I can do is exchange a few words with you. So tell me, in this world, is it possible to change the past? Done.
Huh? What the? What happened? Paimon only saw you hold hands for a second.
Nothing. I was just thanking him for helping me. So long. I suggest you get yourselves out of here quickly.
Where are you going? Hey, wait up! Didn't you say not to go running off?
Fast reaction time. But I don't think we'll be seeing each other again. From this day forth, the names Balladeer and Kabukimono will cease to exist. Those who died in Tatarasuna because of me deserve another chance at life.
Hey, Balladeer! Don't do anything stupid!
You know, I never did like insects. Hordes of the puny things swarming together can be a real nuisance. And I enjoy nothing more than to stamp them out like the pests they are. But if a colony of harmless ants isn't threatening anyone, I guess they deserve to be left alone. Luckily...
Balladeer! Balladeer! Uh-oh, he disappeared! Come on, we gotta find him! Oh no, he's really gone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Nahida!
Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer, what happened just now? I was suddenly cut off by some kind of power.
It was the Balladeer's fault. He shut you out.
I didn't think he'd be capable of something like that with so little power left. Did he keep some of his power hidden when he was defeated? Or did he achieve something beyond his abilities, and it took everything he had?
Where the heck did he go? It's all our fault. We were supposed to keep an eye on him. Sorry, Nahida.
Don't be. It's not your fault. Please, let me handle this from here, even though I'm not sure I can solve it. We're running out of time. Follow my lead and get out of Irminsul as soon as possible. emergency. I'll have to ask you to stay here for now. Everything's arranged, and nobody will disturb you. I'm sorry, but this isn't something I need your help with. Leave this one to me.
An emergency? How bad is it? Nahida?
Don't worry. If my assessment is correct,
her voice is gone. Paimon can't shake the feeling that something really... He wants to change the past? But surely that's impossible! Right! You can't just rewrite history! All that stuff happened already in real life! It's like... Imagine Paimon drank all the water in this inn. Even if no one was there to see it, Paimon would sure as heck remember drinking it! So... why does Paimon still have a bad feeling about this? Paimon can't help but feel scared about what he might do! Oh, Paimon's so confused! Huh? Sorry, Paimon accidentally... It's but... erasing yourself from history? It's unthinkable! Is that really possible in Irminsul? Uh-oh. Paimon's head is overheating from trying to understand... There's no way he'll actually... There's nothing we can do about it at this point. Hey, have you got any ideas on what we should do next? Seems like now there's nothing left for us to do but to go to sleep. But Paimon, so... Alright, Paimon will start. And Dre and Chili... What do we... Paimon was... talking? Huh. The balladeer? Is that a food too? Huh. What's wrong? Your eyes are like saucers. Was it something Paimon said? So, the balladeer. Okay, sure. Where are we going? Huh? Fine by Paimon, but is everything okay? You're acting like this is an emergency.
The world remains constant. The centuries.
तो आज का स्ट्रीम यहीं तक। अगर अच्छा लगा हो, पता नहीं, पहला स्ट्रीम तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा शायद, फिर भी मैं देख पा रहा हूँ कि 10 लाइक आ चुके हैं स्ट्रीम पे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। लेकिन एक भी सब्सक्राइबर नहीं बढ़ा, एक सब्सक्राइबर, तो इट हर्ट्स। ठीक है, दोबारा लाइव आएंगे ज़रूर। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में।